You're listening to Cars and Coffee, your local home for IndyCar, Formula One, and sports car racing news.
Here on 91.3 WHJE.
And now, here's your host, Nathan Ward. Hello and welcome back to Cars and Coffee here on 91.3 WHJE. My name is Nathan Ward. It's kind of a special show this week. Not our usual time. If you are a new listener, or if you're just catching the show today, this show is usually on Sunday mornings at 11:30 a.m. Due to other reasons, other places I have to be, I've moved it to today. But we still have some stuff to talk about. There's some local stuff going on. I will talk about that later. Keep it tuned here. The 2026 IndyCar Series schedule has arrived, and there are no major surprises on the new 17-race calendar for 2026. Iowa Speedway has been removed from the schedule entirely after a horrible turnout in the past year for its two races in July, along with the Thermal Club, which was already known to not be returning. The beginning of 2026 is much more action-packed than the previous season, with 4 races in the first 5 weeks. The season kicks off, as usual, at St. Petersburg on the streets of St. Petersburg and Albert Whitted Airport on March 1st before heading to Phoenix Raceway for the first time since 2018. This is the first interesting thing, I say, that I've seen about the schedule. This is something that I've kind of known was going to happen, but I didn't know the true details of it. The Phoenix race is planned for Saturday, March 7th, either before or after the NASCAR Xfinity race the same weekend. So this is a collaboration between IndyCar, NASCAR, and Fox Sports to merge Fox's motorsports properties a little bit. Not truly, but give them airtime together at the same track. It is most likely that the Xfinity race will be at night and the IndyCar race in the afternoon, because I think the night is the better slot for people to be there, because it's Phoenix in March. I'm not really sure how the weather is. It could be quite cold. I don't know. It's not quite spring there, and winter in the desert is not fun. But this NASCAR doubleheader comes as Fox is trying to increase cooperation between its two motorsports properties, at least when Fox is covering NASCAR, when Fox is broadcasting NASCAR in the first third of the season. And this is my conspiracy theory. I love conspiracy theories here because I like drama, honestly. It may be a gesture being made by NASCAR to show the court that it is willing to open its tracks to other series. So, NASCAR at the moment is currently being sued by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin and the other owners of 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports, which NASCAR being sued by Michael Jordan is not a sentence that I expected to ever say. But here we are. The main accusation that Front Row Motorsports and 2311 throw at NASCAR at the moment is that they are acting as a monopoly, which on paper is not true. If you're looking at it in terms of stock car racing, because not only do you have NASCAR as a stock car series, quote unquote, you have the Cars Tour, which races on local short tracks. You have countless local late model series. NASCAR is not your only option if you want to go see a stock car race. It is absolutely probably the only mainstream option to go see a stock car race, at least here in America. And that's the problem that 2311 has. And also, NASCAR owns pretty much all of the tracks that they go to, except for a few of the road courses and Pocono Raceway. That is, they either own them directly through the International Speedway Corporation, which was fully integrated into NASCAR a couple years ago, or about 5 years ago now, or they are in an agreement with Speedway Motorsports, SMI, Speedway Motorsports Inc., to use their tracks. So tracks like Atlanta, which is Echo Park Speedway now, I'm just calling it Atlanta, Texas Motor Speedway, New Hampshire, Sonoma, Bristol, lots of other tracks. I feel like this IndyCar race at Phoenix is kind of NASCAR saying, oh yeah, we totally let other series race at our tracks. But on paper, that's all well and good. But if you look at the crowd numbers, and I'm going to compare this to Iowa because honestly, I think it's going to go the same way. Unless this race gets a significant promoter, no one's going to show up. It's how NASCAR operates. The official Iowa Speedway Twitter account did not acknowledge the fact that IndyCar raced there this year. There was an unofficial fan account for the actual weekend. There was someone running the account for the promoter, or for Penske, because Penske was promoting the race to the little effect they were allowed to. But the official Iowa Speedway accounts did not mention IndyCar at all. There is a slight difference in the Phoenix approach compared to Iowa, because Phoenix Raceway has at least acknowledged, hey, we're excited to have IndyCar back. Mainly because Phoenix was built as an IndyCar track. But I don't think anyone's going to show up. Phoenix Raceway has about 40,000 seats. So it's very similar to Milwaukee in both track size and seating capacity. IndyCar had no problem with Milwaukee this year. They sold the place out. It looked awesome. The race was great. No issues there. With Phoenix, you haven't been there in... how long has it been? 2018. Has it seriously been 7 years? Oh my word. It's been 7 years since IndyCar's last been to Phoenix, and the crowds in the return era, so 2016, 2017, and 2018, were all either incredibly small, or ranging from incredibly small to non-existent. So I hope NASCAR does the right thing, in air quotes, and actually promotes this race. But I don't know. I think they would if they want to save themselves in court. If they want to look good, and if they want to prove that they're not a monopoly, they'd promote this race. If they don't care, or if they know they're going to lose, or if they have lost by the time IndyCar rolls up to Phoenix with NASCAR next year, it may be a completely different story. That is something I will continue to cover here throughout the off-season on Cars and Coffee. But if you want to get in touch with the show, here's how you do it. Check out our Instagram. Want to get in touch with the show? Head over to the Cars and Coffee Instagram page at carsandcoffee_WHJE and send us a message. That's at carsandcoffee_WHJE. I'll try to answer as many messages as possible. I've currently been working on a lot of informational Instagram posts for the Cars and Coffee Instagram. I'm going to put out a schedule or a list of times, list of places where you can find the show if you can't catch us live, and some other ways to get in touch. What we usually cover, we're going to talk about. I'm going to start doing beginner's guides for entry-level motorsports fans. I'm going to start with the sports car stuff, because I think the sports car stuff is going to be the hardest to explain, and it's going to be the most in-depth videos that I do. I want to get those out of the way now and have those on platforms, on the other platforms I'm on for the show, for listeners to go and check out if they want to learn more. Moving on to the rest of the IndyCar schedule. After Phoenix, you head to the inaugural Grand Prix of Arlington, which is going to take place in the Jerry World parking lot, which that's been known for, I don't know, year and a half now. So that's known. I think that race is going to do very well. I'm excited for it. It kind of gives off Miami Grand Prix vibes, but hear me out. I like the track. The track is very goofy looking. The run from turn 9 to 10, basically down the road from the AT&T Stadium parking lot down to the Texas Rangers baseball field. That's gonna be some chaos. That's gonna be the chaos corner at the end of that. That's probably a 3/4 mile long straight. But after Arlington, there's an off week, and then we go to Barber Motorsports Park, which is about a month earlier than previous years. That was leaked by the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America schedule, of all things. So there's going to be a race there, and apparently there's going to be 2 Indy Next races there that weekend, which I won't complain about more Indy Next as long as the teams don't run out of money. Unlike 2025, so after Barber, you have a 2-week gap to the Long Beach Grand Prix, which is, there's your break if Mark Miles so desires a longer than needed break in the beginning of the season. You have Long Beach, and then Mother's Day weekend is the race at the IMS Road Course, and then Memorial Day weekend is the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500. Week after that is the Streets of Detroit, and then the week after that is the race at Worldwide Technology Raceway, which I believe, again, will be a Sunday night race. Unlike 2025, the weekend of the 24 Hours of Le Mans is an off week, so that IndyCar drivers such as Scott Dixon, even though Scott Dixon drives for Honda now, and I don't think Honda's going to have a Le Mans entry next year. I'm going to get into that at some point. Like, how does the FIA decide who gets into Le Mans or not? That's a great thing I'm going to talk about on the show soon. A lot of IndyCar drivers do go with LMP2 teams or hypercar teams or GT teams over to Le Mans to be a third driver or drive an extra car or to fulfill some sort of role for a sports car team. So they weren't able to do that last year, or this past year, because the Gateway race was the same weekend as the 24 Hours of Le Mans. If you were insane, I think you probably could have made it, or like just skipped Gateway qualifying, run your minimum drive time at Le Mans, and flew back to the U.S. But that, you would have to be insane. You'd have to. That's more than Kyle Larson doing the double. That's. I can only describe that as insane. But the next big move I think the biggest move for the schedule changing, at least in terms of changing venues around instead of adding new ones, is that the race at Nashville Superspeedway has moved from the season finale in late August to mid-July. The race will run to 400 miles and will start immediately after the World Cup final and run into the night for maximum TV viewership. That's another reason why I think that they've added more races at the beginning of the season, is because they know they're not going to compete with the World Cup final on Fox, or they're not going to compete with the World Cup at all on Fox. So they are trying to avoid the World Cup as much as possible and put races in other places. So with that, there's a little bit of a gap. You have Road America, Mid-Ohio, and then Nashville. There's only 2 races in July. Mid-Ohio on July 4th weekend, and Nashville, I can't count, 2 weeks after. But Nashville Sunday night, immediately after the World Cup final, I think that's going to be a big TV number. Nashville already, with no lead-in, as the championship finale was a big TV number. I think a lot of those people will come back. My only concern with that is it's Nashville on a summer night. I don't know how well that's going to be in terms of crowd quality or race quality of... How do I describe this? I don't know what the quality of the event from the perspective of someone in the grandstand is going to be. Would I, as a fan, want to sit in the grandstands at Nashville on a summer night for 3 hours? Me? Yes, because I'm crazy. But would an ordinary person want to? I don't know. That's something that I think Penske needs to work on if they're promoting the race. They need to work on having amenities for the crowd. If you're going to have a long race in that kind of weather, you need to have things for the crowd to do. You need to have other stuff around, have a concert or something. I don't know. It's Nashville. You get someone. There's got to be someone around that can do a concert. Someone someone interesting, like an up-and-coming country artist or whatever, there's got to be someone around to do that. But not the last interesting thing, but the new street race in Markham, Ontario is scheduled for August 16th, and the season will conclude with 2 races at the Milwaukee Mile. I believe that is done to compensate for the loss of Mexico City, because that race was originally going to be done in the summer sometime, but the World Cup got in the way of that. There was no time in the spring to do it because Penske wanted their long gap between Barber and Long Beach for some reason. So they've replaced a possible Mexico date with a second race at the Milwaukee Mile, which actually, if you exclude the fact that Mexico is not on the schedule, I am completely fine with 2 races at the Milwaukee Mile because the Milwaukee Mile is awesome. But the season will conclude on Sunday, September 6th, 2026 at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. My overall thoughts on this schedule. I honestly think this is a great start. This is great. This is a good shuffle around of events. This is a shuffle around of events that we desperately needed after losing Texas Motor Speedway. And I think we needed it even before losing Texas because the opening runs of the season from 2021 to 2024 were terrible. Terrible for keeping viewers, terrible for momentum of the actual drivers of the championship, of the crews probably enjoyed it, honestly. The crews got their rest, and they only had to go to a race once every 3 weeks, got to spend more time with their families. That I think is the only negative side of this schedule layout, is that the crews will be working more, but you're still going to have a little bit of a gap for the World Cup. You're going to have a gap between Barber and Long Beach. You can't really run anything there because that's kind of peak golf season. That's March Madness too. You really don't want to conflict with March Madness, but you got to fit races in somewhere, and World Cup is the conflict that you just absolutely cannot clash with the World Cup because nobody is going to watch the race. Because soccer is, I can't believe how big soccer has got here in the U.S. over the last couple years, but this World Cup, especially since it takes place here in the U.S. as well as Toronto, Vancouver, and Mexico City, it's going to be huge, and it's going to be impossible to go up against for anything. The whole country is going to be 2 weeks of just World Cup through mid-July. And then immediately after the World Cup ends, IndyCar's back. So that's the only thing for me, is some of the spacing is a bit odd, but honestly, if you drop the second Milwaukee race, which I love Milwaukee, but I don't think we need doubleheaders. I'll take a doubleheader at Milwaukee because at least Milwaukee's a good track. If you drop Milwaukee race 2 for Mexico City, if you drop Phoenix for Homestead, or if you go to Homestead Miami Speedway instead of Phoenix, and if you go to Denver instead of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, which I think Denver is going to happen for 2027. It's kind of been known for a while that, oh yeah, we're going to Denver in 27. It's basically a done deal. But again, Mexico fell apart last second, so don't count on it. Keep your fingers crossed, but Denver is likely. I think if you get rid of the second Milwaukee race, the IMS road course race, and the race at Phoenix, and you add in their place Homestead, which is another super speedway, Mexico, and Denver, you have a good schedule. If you drop Portland, because Portland apparently is in terrible shape as a facility, and bring in a track like Pocono, you have a perfect schedule. It's a great start for IndyCar, despite the negative of not being able to land a Mexico date. Hopefully we can next year and get that second Milwaukee race off the schedule, because again, double headers remind me of COVID, and I don't like that. You're listening to Cars and Coffee here on 91.3 WHJE. When we come back, we are going to preview the 6-hour IMSA WeatherTech sports car race right here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But before we go to a song break, here's how you can check us out if you missed the show live. Want more racing news and highlights along with full show replays?
241.428 miles an hour.
Head over to the This Week in Racing YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of Cars and Coffee and highlights from your favorite racing series. Just go to youtube.com/@TWIRvids. That's how you can check us out if you missed the show. I will try and have this show up on YouTube by tonight. Usually, if I do this on a Sunday morning, I want to have the main show up on YouTube over on This Week in Racing by that night at 5 p.m. That's my goal, just so the show stays relevant for anyone who missed the show live and wants to catch the part they missed. We are going to go to a quick song break and talk about Battle on the Bricks. When we come back, you're listening to 91.3 WHJE. This is Cars and Coffee with Nathan Ward. You're listening to Who'll Stop the Rain by CCR. Don't go away. Cars and Coffee will be right back on 91.3 WHJE. Hi, if you're listening to this, that means you're listening to a replay of today's show. I just want to say thank you for listening and make sure to subscribe to the This Week in Racing YouTube channel so you never miss another episode of Cars and Coffee, along with highlights from your favorite motorsport series. If you're listening on the WHJE website, go to youtube.com/@TWIRvids. If you're listening to this on YouTube, just click the button below. Thank you so much for listening. Now, let's get back to the show. We now return to Cars and Coffee here on 91.3 WHJE. Welcome back to Cars and Coffee here on 91.3 WHJE. My name is Nathan Ward. That was Who'll Stop the Rain by CCR. John Fogerty's a great songwriter. CCR is a super underrated band. But we have a local race going on this weekend. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship heads to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for one of the most crucial races of the season, the 6-hour TireRack.com Battle on the Bricks. With just 2 rounds left in the 2025 season, every lap, every pit stop, and every pit call could decide who walks away with a championship in all 4 classes. The Premier GTP class comes to the Brickyard with 12 entries, and the LMP2 class is also 12 cars strong. The GT classes are split between 11 GTD Pro cars and 18 regular GTDs. The number 5 Proton Porsche 963 is missing from the GTP entry list due to a crash damage sustained at Watkins Glen, and the Iron Dames Porsche GTD entry is missing due to ongoing financial issues with the greater Prema organization. The GTP Championship, realistically, is between the 2 Penske Porsches, but the number 24 Rahal Letterman Lanigan BMW is still in the hunt. The AO Racing number 99 car, Spike the Dragon, has a growing lead in the LMP2 title race. 2 wins in a row have given PJ Hyatt, who is the founder of GitHub, by the way. I did not know that. I went down a rabbit hole of what do some of these gentlemen drivers that race in LMP2 and GTD, what do they do for a living? Like, what's their main job? Because a lot of these bronze-rated drivers, a lot of these amateurs that drive these cars, they don't race full-time. They have some other way of bringing in income. Like, Ben Keating's a car dealer. PJ Hyatt is the founder of GitHub. If you've ever downloaded a program off of GitHub before, that's because of PJ Hyatt. Patrick Kelly, who was an LMP2 driver about 5 years ago for PR1 Motorsports, he's one of the lead developers of Call of Duty. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know how I went so long as a racing fan without knowing what some of these bronze drivers do. Brendan Reeb, driving for Inception Racing, he is the founder of Oculus. Have you ever used an Oculus VR system? Yeah, that's his company. So there's a lot of tech people. George Kurtz, the founder of CrowdStrike, drives an LMP2 car. There's so much. There's a massive business connection within these amateur drivers in LMP2 and GTD. But PJ Hyatt and Dane Cameron have a 107-point lead headed into Indy over the United Autosports crew. I forgot to mention if it was the 22 or the 2 car. I think it's the 22. United Autosports will need to strike back now or risk watching their title hopes completely evaporate before they go to Petit Le Mans. I don't think that the 99 could clinch the title this weekend, but they can certainly make their Petit Le Mans quite a bit easier if they win and the 22 car does badly. Corvette Racing picked the perfect weekend to score its first win of the year at VIR, giving the number 3 Corvette Z06 GT3 driven by Alex Sims and Antonio Garcia a 53-point cushion over Dragon Speed's Ferrari. That's a new squad for this year, usually a career prototype team. They've been racing in LMP2 for the last... it's been probably like 10 years. But Dragon Speed's Ferrari is still in the championship hunt. AO Racing, the Rexy Porsche, if you've been to the Indy airport in the last probably 2 weeks, you've seen the championship-winning AO Racing Rexy car from last year. The defending Indy winners in the 77 Porsche are still in the mix, but with only one podium in the last 5 races, they're going to need to start scoring some big results and hope for their rivals to hit trouble. No team comes into the weekend with more championship breathing room than the Windward Racing Mercedes crew. Philip Ellis and Russell Ward's number 57 Mercedes-AMG holds a 171-point lead in the GTD class. Still not clinched, but close enough that a strong result here and a little bit of trouble for their rivals could make their Motul Petit Le Mans a lot less stressful. While Indianapolis isn't the final round of the season, it's a big springboard into the final stretch. There is still 16 hours of racing left in the 2025 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, but just 2 races. The TireRack.com Battle on the Bricks, which is tomorrow, and the Motul Petit Le Mans in a month's time, I think, 3 weeks in mid-October. 6 hours is an awful lot of time for something to go wrong, but if you survive, you are in a good position headed to Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta in October. The biggest headline, at least car-wise, because IMSA is all about the cars. It is crazy to see what some of these cars are capable of on track. The biggest headline is the Aston Martin Valkyrie. This car, I love this car so much. This might be my favorite modern Le Mans prototype because not only is the car just cool. It's designed by Adrian Newey, who is now the Aston Martin F1 designer. He used to work for Red Bull. The Valkyrie, the team that developed it, instead of developing the race car from the road-going Aston Martin Valkyrie, which has a hybrid motor and a V12, so it has a V12 and an electric motor, they developed it from the AMR Pro version of the car, where the AMR Pro is basically a completely stripped-down, track-optimized version of the road car. The AMR Pro does not have a battery, so they chose to develop the race car from the track car, so the race car doesn't have a hybrid. Instead of a hybrid, they have built a naturally aspirated Cosworth V12, and oh my word, that thing can scream. I have seen people on Twitter saying they can hear the Valkyrie from the Butler campus. I don't know how big of a distance is between the Butler campus and Speedway, but that's a pretty significant stretch over downtown Indy. So that car is loud, and it sounds like nothing else compared to anything else. So the Butler campus is, you basically take 16th Street to Meridian and go north a little bit. It's probably about, let's see here, I'm pulling up Google Maps. Butler is about 4 miles away from IMS. You can hear the Valkyrie at full song from 4 miles away. I love that car so much, man. I hope it wins. But the Valkyrie hasn't had the greatest year. It's the car's first year in competition, so honestly, you're going to have some speed bumps. But the car that is going to go out soon is the Lamborghini SC63. That car comes into the Indy race with a suspension upgrade from the previous spec car, even though that car only has 2 races left before Lamborghini puts the program on pause for 2026. They are confident that they will return eventually, but they need a partner to do so. Riley Motorsports was not interested in continuing the program into next year, and Prema / Iron Link / whatever they're called today are kind of bankrupt at the moment because they're in too many series. The Lamborghini was really good at IMS last year. With this upgrade, I think, with this upgrade and a little bit of rain, which we are forecast to get, the Lamborghini might be a dark horse for the win. But I need to be realistic here. So when I'm making my picks, and somehow these are the first picks I've made since the school year started, I'm being a little more realistic with the picks. But I am still hoping. I am still hopeful one of my favorite cars will win. My GTD pick is the number 27 Heart of Racing car, Tom Gamble, Casper Stevenson, and Zachary Robichon. There's really no rhyme or reason behind this. I just feel like a Heart of Racing car is going to win. I wish it was the Valkyrie, but their GT3 program is dialed in, and their GTD car can really, they can ball out on a good day. And I just have a feeling that Heart of Racing car is going to do well. My GTD Pro pick is the number 81 Dragon Speed car of Albert Costa and Davide Rigon, two factory Ferrari drivers. That car has been super overlooked throughout the season, but I think they win the race, and honestly, I think they can win the championship. I don't know if the Corvette crew has the consistency to keep up with the 81. I think the 81 scores two consistently better results compared to the 3 Corvette. My LMP2 pick, this is very straightforward. I'm picking PJ Hyatt, Dane Cameron, and Johnny Edgar, who's joining the number 99 crew this weekend. It really doesn't seem like a competition. I feel like AO Racing is just a step above everybody else in LMP2 at the moment. And my GTP pick, even though the Acuras have been really good in practice, I haven't seen how qualifying's gone. I don't even know if qualifying's over yet. But I'm picking the number 24 BMW. I love the BMW LMDH. I love RLL. I'm a big RLL fan. I think Dries Vanthoor and Philip Eng get it done overall tomorrow at IMS. My dark horse pick for GTP is the number 63 Lamborghini. I really hope that car can go out on a high note, and winning at IMS would be perfect. I love the Lamborghini. It's sad to see it go. At least I'll have the Aston next year, and at least I'll still have the BMW next year, even though the BMWs won't be run by RLL anymore. But if you want to watch the Battle on the Bricks, it is tomorrow. Why does the IMSA website not work? Wonderful. Simply phenomenal. Thank you, school internet. You can watch from 11:35 a.m. on YouTube, on IMSA TV, and on Peacock. You can watch starting at 11:30. The full race will be on Peacock, and the race will join NBC on network from 3 p.m. to the end of the race. The race is timed at 6 hours. It will run from noon to 6 p.m. But if you want to catch the start, it will be on Peacock. And if you want to catch the end of the race, you can find it on NBC, YouTube if you are an international listener or viewer, or IMSA TV, which is that's only available in the States on Peacock Premium. So if you want to watch the race, that is how you do so. You should probably tune in a little bit before the start at noon to get yourself situated, but it's going to be a fun day tomorrow. Hopefully I can catch a little bit of it throughout my day, but that is all I have for today here on Cars and Coffee here on 91.3 WHJE. Thank you for listening to this special new time. I will be back to my normal time next week. Make sure to follow the Instagram if you want to get in touch with the show, and if you missed part of the show, go check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@TWIRvids. Thank you for listening to Cars and Coffee here on 91.3 WHJE. My name is Nathan Ward. Here's Them Bones by Alice in Chains.